Hey, what is up, guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be going over the top builds for 7.35. Well, these are 10 builds I think are going to be particularly strong, or at least extremely fun, probably a little bit of both, some really broken. And then maybe at the end, if you're lucky, I'll give you a little bonus build. I'll give you guys a little bit of a treat, all right? But okay, let's kind of get into it. I'm really excited to talk about the 7.35 builds because there's a lot of them. Some of them are very unique, and yeah, let's do it. Alright, before we get into the main part of the video, I do want to let you guys know that I'm not only posting videos here on YouTube, I also frequently post videos on the website. If you don't know what I'm talking about, almost every single day I'm posting a new video to the GameLeap website. We're going to teach you guys in depth about how to get to the next level. So if you want to become absolutely broken, click the link down below and sign up. Alright, getting into the first hero is one of the most buffed heroes of the patch. Timbersaw in the last day has gone up by 7% win rate, and it doesn't surprise me. I mean, this hero, I thought it was good pre-patch, and now it's just gigabuffed, like gigabuffed. The hero got 2 strength gain, and then they heavily buff reactive armor. Now reactive armor, instead of having 10 stacks at level 1, has 15. I mean, it's literally a 50% buff to the total stacks. But what is important about this, because you might be like, oh, but it's hard to get 15 stacks. It's not anymore, because now every time a hero hits you, instead of getting 2 stacks, which is what it was last patch, you get 3 stacks. And so every single time a hero hits you, you get a ton of regen and 1.5 armor. Yeah, you heard that right. Every time you get hit, a singular hit from a hero, you get 1.5 armor, right? Then you multiply that by 5, and you can see where we're going. You get 7.5 armor if you have max stats, right? If you take this ability at level 1, which I actually don't generally recommend, you can. Like, if you think the lane is, let's say you're against Pugna Wind Ranger. All right, this is some really lame double range lane. I've actually played this lane as Timber. And you skill reactive, you will basically not take damage. If you eat a tango, you will not take damage. The problem is, it's a little bit hard to last hit, right? So yeah, you should probably have a Quelling Blade, 2 Circlets, or Quelling Blade, 2 Gauntlets, Branches, and Tangos. Now, what is the item build on this hero? Because honestly, that's where things are hard. Right now, guys, I'm not exactly sure. There are so many different builds, and I'll give you one that I think is good, but there are so many different avenues you can go down on this hero that are powerful. I'll give you first my Theory Craft build. That might seem a little bit insane, but all right, hear me out. So the first build is, you know, your regular starting items, right? Wand, boots, raindrops if you want it. And then from there, you're gonna go down, not a weird path, you're gonna go mana boots and a soul ring, so pretty standard for your mana, but then you're gonna build a Pavis, okay? This was good last patch. I honestly think you could have bought this last patch on Timber, but now Pavis has mana, it gives you mana, right? It doesn't just give you mana regen like last patch. And the reason why this is good is it's the item you will drop on the ground when using your soul ring. So it'll actually heavily buff Soul Ring if you buy Pavis. Also, Timber sometimes can get bursted in the early game, and Pavis is the perfect item to prevent this from happening. It's only 1400 gold, it gives you that 300 block, it gives you HP, it gives you armor, which is good even with the reactive buffs, right? You don't want to get bursted by physical when you don't have stacks. And so yeah, it really is wonderful. And from there, you have so many different options. You can instantly upgrade the Pavis into a Solar Crest. Your hero is universal, so having the attack speed and bonus stats as well as armor actually makes you hit really hard. Like unironically, you can click down creep camps, creep waves, and heroes to some extent, yes, as Timbersaw. Or you can just leave it at Pavis and go into a Kaya Sange, a very average standard build for Timbersaw. From there, I actually recommend going Blink into Shard and then Axe. Just get really, really tanky, be able to frontline. But yeah, the main reason why the hero is broken is the change to reactive. The buff they gave to the Q the previous patch, they buffed the Q by 3% stat loss, which was huge. Now they give him strength too. It's insane, right? I also have heard that Bloodstone is kind of cool. So yeah, there's a lot to try. You can go Bloodstone as well. You can try like a Blink Blade Mail build. There's so many different routes you can go down on this hero. I'll kind of leave that up to you guys, but yeah, if you don't know what to do, I recommend the build I just suggested. All right, getting into the second hero. Well, actually, this is a combo of heroes. It's mostly talking about an item, one specific item, which is not Solar Crest, an item that will probably come up throughout this video a few times. Because that item's crazy. That item's really crazy. But okay, we got Bloodthorn. Okay, Bloodthorn as an item, guys, probably will be nerfed soon. I'm gonna keep it real. This video might be not up to date very soon because, well, Bloodthorn's a bit of a goofy item. If you don't know what they did, well, let me quickly catch you up. So what the item does is on a 15-second cooldown, everything that attacks the person you Bloodthorn does 60 extra damage and has True Strike. Okay, 60 magic damage. Everything that hits it Okay, this includes treants. This includes brood spiders. This includes familiars. This includes everything. So you can see where we're going here, all right? You can probably already guess the builds. What you're going to want to do is buy Bloodthorn on Brood, Nature's Prophet, and Wind Ranger, heroes like this. I also have seen it on Visage a couple times. So why on Brood? Works with the spiders. Why on Furion? Works with the treants. Why on Wind? Well, 60 extra damage on every single attack is incredible. And Bloodthorn builds from Javelin now. You know what item is really good on Wind Ranger? Javelin! Because it's a 30% chance to deal 60 bonus damage on every single focus fire attack. And they just buffed Javelin. Instead of 1100 gold, it's 900. It does slightly less damage, but slightly. Right? It's definitely an overall buffed item, and this heavily benefits Wind Ranger. See, I can't stress how good this item is on Wind, and why is it so good on Furion and Brood outside of the fact that it works on the units? Well, it's just a natural right-clicking item. It gives 100 attack speed. It doesn't give a lot of damage, right? It only gives 10 damage and 15 int, so that's particularly good on Furion because it's an int hero, but for Brood, it's universal, so it gets a little bit of the benefit from that. But yeah, I mean, it's a right-click item. It's just a strictly right-click item, and it works not only on the units, but also on the hero. And then, of course, the Orchid on Brood and Furion is great, because these are high-mobility heroes that can connect to kills very easily. But I don't necessarily recommend you rush the item. I think previous to that, it's good to just kind of go regular items. For instance, on Furion, I think the name of the game is going to be like a Maelstrom or a Mjolnir into BKB back into the Bloodthorn, like a later Bloodthorn. Yes, if your team really wants the Orchid, you can go that route, but on Brood, for instance, I don't think you just rush the Bloodthorn. I think it's too expensive, doesn't give any HP, no stats, just isn't as good early on. It's not really a farming item. And so what I suggest is on Brood, you go Solar Crest. Because, I mean, this item's unbelievable on Brood. It lets you be tanky, it gives you mana, the buildup is insane, it gives a lot of stats, the hero wants armor, right? You're a universal hero, so you super benefit from the stats, and then when you click Solar Crest on yourself, it costs 0 mana to use. 0! And it gives you 70 attack speed for 8 seconds. That's on Brood. Of course you want that on Brood. It just makes sense, right? The hero, when it skills Insatiable Hunger, wants to right-click really fast in frontline. Solar Crest lets you do this obscenely well. So yeah, no doubt in my mind that the Solar Crest in a Bloodthorn build for Brood is a great way to go. All right, getting into the next hero is Chen. Honestly, I just have to say Chen is going to be good, guys. It dropped in win rate over the last day after the patch, but like, it's stupid. The new Chen E is ridiculous. It gives 12 armor at level 1, 12 for 6 seconds. All right, if someone gets gone on and you give this to them, they're just not gonna die, right? And you can use it in the laning stage, you can use it whenever. I mean, this hero is definitely insane, guys. There's nothing else to say. Once people figure out Chen, it's gonna be insane. Honestly, you can skill the E at level 2, and just give yourself armor when trading. If your teammate gets gone on, your ally, your safe laner gets gone on, just put it on them. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, this new ability is just ridiculous. But okay, to talk about the items, because kind of that's the hard part here, I think people are going to be going through a lot of different builds on this hero, because the problem with Solar Crest is you can't use it on enemies anymore, right? People don't realize that. All Solar Crest does now is it gives Pavis buff, right, which is the physical block, then attack speed, movement speed, and armor to allies, right? You can only use it on allies and creeps, but you can't put it on enemies. So for like Chen, for farming, he liked Medallion. That's not an item anymore. And so Solar Crest isn't nearly as good on Chen. It's still a good item and it's good on Chen, but it's not as good, if that makes sense. It doesn't do exactly what he wants. So I think there's going to be a lot of different builds going around with like a hero like Chen. You're going to see some drums. You're going to see, well, just Solar Crest. Maybe you'll just see like a Glimmer Rush. You'll see Mech into Greaves, which just got a slight buff. So there's going to be a lot of different routes. Honestly, the beauty of Chen coming up is going to be the fact that they just buffed the Q. The E is way better. There's Solar Crest, which is definitely just a broken item you can buy, even though it's not necessarily as good on Chen. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Chen will be broken. Pretty sure you can also just buy like Holy Locket on Chen as well if you want to go that route, like Holy Locket Mech, Holy Locket Greaves will be very, very strong. So yeah, a lot of different angles, gonna be a broken hero. Just wanted to put it in here. Okay, then we have Visage. I think is very similar to Chen, where the Solar Crest is less good because you wanted to generally use it on the opponent you were going on, right? So that you and both your familiars would do extra damage. Now you can't do that, you can only put it on one of you. I saw Visage do this, and it looked good because the buildup is just way too good on this hero, right? The hero needs armor, it wants HP, it wants a mana pool, it wants stats, it kind of likes the attack speed. Like, it's just a good item, so you could go that route, but the majority of Visages that I've seen played as of late are buying Vlads and drums. Now, why is Visage good? The reason why Visage is particularly good Because now, in order to get soul assumption charges, the game will give you charges based on damage before reductions. Previous to the patch, it was after reductions. So like after magic resist, after armor. Now, in the late game, if you're going on a Terrorblade and you're hitting this guy, even if he's taking seemingly no damage, you're just gonna boom, 6 charges. Like that is how it will go. You will just get charges. In the laning stage, you already got charges fast, but now it's like instant. It's ridiculous. And I think this hero can be played as a support, unironically. I think like Solar Crest Visage, or just like Drums or Vlad's support Visage, probably Solar Crest if it's a support, will just be very, very powerful, like very powerful. As a core, I think you'll probably primarily see like a Vlad's, like Mana Boots and a Vlad, something like this, or Vlad's and a Mana Boots. Just so you have mana, because you actually do kind of need the mana. It will probably be like a mana boost into Vlad, something like that, into Drums. And honestly, what you can do after that is you can go like a Bloodthorn, right? And then, oh my god, the familiar's just cooked. The problem is Bloodthorn's really expensive, guys. That's always what you have to keep in mind. It's like 7k gold, right? This item is basically 7k gold. It's really expensive. I mean, the buildup is good, but it's not that good on Visage, and that's kind of the problem. Like, I wouldn't recommend it too much. I would mostly stick towards auras, like just your Vlad's Pipe, that type of vibe, even Guardian Greaves. All right, getting into the next hero, we have a strong support of the patch, and that is Lion. The build online is going to be playing around the suck now, because basically when you mana drain, it does 120 damage per second, which is a lot of damage, guys. I mean, it makes you completely grief people's mana pool and do a ton of damage at the same time at a very strong cast range, and on top of that, it slows. It's really good, right? So what do? Well, I think there's a lot of angles here. You could go Aether Lens, right? That's definitely an option. You can just go like a backliner build. You can just be tanky. And honestly, I think this is what people might do. Like, I hate to continue to repeat Pavis, but like, you can just become tanky with this item. Like Pavis Glimmer, Pavis Ghost Scepter, just Ghost Scepter, and you can just suck. And you're a complete nuisance to the enemy team. You're going to grief their mana pools entirely. They're not going to be able to kill you because you're going to hex them, suck them, then stun them, suck them. I mean, it's crazy. Like, you're just sucking them like crazy. There's nothing they can do. And then the last great part of this is you can click Ghost Scepter before sucking with your shard, and then you're completely immune. I'm not kidding. There's only very few spells that actually can do anything if you click Ghost Scepter and then suck with your shard. And then you're doing 120 damage per second to 3 heroes and draining all their mana and slowing them, and you're invincible. All right, getting to the next hero, we got Leshrac with Bloodstone. This is somehow the most buffed hero of the patch. I think it's mainly because of the fact that Bloodstone just makes all of your spells this massive AoE. That's not true. I mean, there's actually a lot to talk about here, right? So first off, Bloodstone is Leshrac's item, right? Because it gives Spell Eye Steal, gives mana, right? It's a Leshrac item for sure. And then on top of that, they just buffed the hero's abilities insanely hard. I mean, I said I thought this hero would be a way better support, but Edict just does 2 more damage per Edict, which is a ton, right? It really is a lot. It's very noticeable, helps finish off kills, helps finish off towers. Lightning Storm now slows attack speed by 50, which is for 1.2 seconds every 4 seconds when it's maxed out, which is frankly a lot. It really makes it hard for heroes to hit you. Like, and a big problem with Leshrac is burst right clickers, right? Because the hero tends to have an armor problem. But you know what it does about its armor problem? It buys Veil. So you have this like Bloodthorn, and then you buy a Veil, which gives you armor and stats and amps magic damage around you. I mean, if you need to deal with physical, you buy Veil because it gives 20 armor and a ton of stats, as well as like, you know, the AoE magic amp. And if you need to deal with magical, you go BKB. But yeah, this is buffed, the Bloodstone's buffed, Veil is insane on this hero. Like, I really believe that, I don't know, Leshrac is gonna cook this patch. Like, Leshrac will definitely cook this patch. Very, very scary hero, can be played in any role. Like, I literally think it can be played in any of the 5 roles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's definitely something to look out for. But right, for the build, yeah, I mean, people are doing a lot of different things, but as you might expect, the most common build on the hero with people going, well, there's actually a few. Veil is very common. I'm seeing a couple of people rush Veil, which I don't really recommend. We have Bloodstone, which I think will become the most common build. We see Mana Boots into Bloodstone because Mana Boots can't be disassembled anymore, right? It's not an item that can be disassembled into the Bloodstone, so that's something you have to keep in mind. I'm seeing Bloodstone into Shivas, as I kind of talked about. I'm seeing a very standard Kaya Sanj Blink Dagger. I'm seeing Yules in a Veil. Right, I mean, there's so many different items you can buy now, guys, on this hero, but I really think the main item you want to be buying is Bloodstone. The second one you want to be considering is generally just a Kaya Sanj, right, because it's just naturally gone on this hero. And then finally from there, it's going to be that Shivas, right? So I think the most standard build is going to be Bloodstone into Kaya Sanj into Shivas, and maybe a Yules, right? If you need setup or you just want Yules in general, that will be an item you can consider. Okay, next up we have Abaddon, and I actually think this hero will be best as an offlaner. I think it's fine as a 5 or a support as well. I think it's either going to be offlane or a support. It just wants to be a battle build, and you're going to buy Solar Crest. It's really easy to understand, guys. This item is insanely good on Abaddon. Okay, it's a universal hero, so it loves the all stats. It wants the armor, it has terrible armor. It wants the armor. It wants the mana pool. When you click Solar Crest on yourself, it loves the attack speed with Curse of the Avernus, which Curse of the Avernus now does damage over time. Right, when you get the stacks, you do 30 to 60 damage over time, depending on the level of the ability. This item's perfect. It's absolutely perfect for the hero. Build-up is insanely good. There's nothing else to say. I mean, this is the build. And then from there, it's whatever aura items you want. You can do this on support or offlane. It's whatever aura items you want. In terms of the skill build, it's going to be a very simple build for me. You're going to max your shield. At level 1, you're generally going to take shield. At level 2, you're going to take your passive. At level 3, you're going to take shield. At level 4, it kind of just depends. Maybe your Q if you really want to heal as a support. Same thing on support. If you want to heal, you can take it at level 2. But generally, it's just going to be W and passive. These are going to be the strong spells on the hero. And then, yeah, with the attack speed from Solar Crest and the damage over time on the E, it's going to really allow you to kill camps and kill heroes. It's powerful, guys. I mean, the level 10 talent on Abaddon, giving HP regen on the W as well, just makes this hero way more sustainable. And then from there, you have so many options. As an offlaner, you can buy like drums into Manta. Manta just got buffed a little bit, not by a lot, but by a little bit. So Manta's better. You can just go like Vlad's drums, Vlad's pipe. You can buy whatever aura items are needed. So yeah, a lot of different angles. I've also seen a lot of Radiance on Abaddon. People are trying Radiance carry Abaddon, which is cool. That's definitely an angle, but I think the way to go is just going to be this really annoying heal bot with the level 10 talent and the Solar Crest. That's what's going to be strong here. Then we have Animage. Animage is just good now. I would love to say like buy Solar Crest on Animage, which doesn't sound that bad to be honest. It really doesn't, actually. That sounds kind of decent. Don't do that. Don't do that, guys. Just go Battle Fury into Manta. Manta got slightly buffed too, as I've been mentioning. The hero got buffed really hard. Its talents, I would argue, one of its most important talents, the Mana Burn talent, got heavily buffed. So the Manta plus the level 15 timing is going to be insane. Animage was already seeing a strong win rate previous to the patch, which I wasn't even exactly sure why, but it has been the case. And so, yeah, it seems like this hero is to stay. Definitely something to look at. Then we have Faceless Void. Faceless Void primarily benefits from the Maelstrom buff. Why? Well, the hero loves attack speed, mainly because of the fact that, well, you want to bash people, right? That's kind of the gist of Faceless Void. You click them a bunch and you bash them a bunch. Now, with Mjolnir, the item is much, much better. Why? The first reason why is because Maelstrom now builds with the Gloves of Haste. So the item now just gives 25 attack speed, which is great because, once again, attack speed is great with bashes, and it's great with Maelstrom, right? The more you click with Maelstrom, well, the more procs you get. They did nerf the procs, but I think that's overall okay. On top of that, Mjolnir has been changed and gives a lot more attack speed now. Same reason, right? Because of the fact that Maelstrom is buffed. Instead of giving 70, it now gives 90, and the recipe is a lot cheaper. So Mjolnir builds for Maelstrom, which is more expensive. However, the recipe of Mjolnir got buffed, right? Because it's cheaper and recipes are bad. And so, yeah, this item is just much easier to build to and gives more attack speed when you finally complete it. And so, yeah, this is just a wonderful, wonderful change for Faceless Void. And then the hero just got overall buffs. Nothing crazy, really. It got a slight strength gain buff, but it's 1 strength every 5 levels. I mean, realistically, that's not changing the game for the hero. Let's be real. It's a very minor buff there. So, yeah, I think it mainly comes down to the Mjolnir change being very favorable for Faceless Void. Thought Mjolnir is honestly broken for a while, and so, yeah, I would definitely go that route. All right, and finally getting into our last build before maybe the bonus build, maybe. We got Solar Crest, Atos, Underlord. I know, guys. What do you want me to tell you? Of course you're going to buy Solar Crest on Underlord. How could you not? Pavis is great on this hero. You want the mana, right? So build you're going to go, well, there's actually a couple different variants we got here. So first off, you can still just go Mana Boots on this hero, just, well, for mana. You can go Soul Ring and go that route. You can also go Vanguard and continue to go that route. It's fine. Personally, the angle I see is somewhat of a right-click build. Right, the reason why I say that is the Solar Crest giving 70 attack speed just makes so much sense. When you're farming with this hero with the E, you naturally get attack damage. And we've seen in the past variants of this hero where you're right-clicking, and now it's better than ever. I mean, there's no way around it. Solar Crest not costing any mana and giving this attack speed with this incredible build-up, it's just wonderful, right? It just makes the hero hit really hard, be really tanky, really consistently. Right? It's so good for such an efficient slot space. And that's something I've kind of forgot to mention throughout this video. The benefit of Solar Crest is its Pavis, and the problem with Pavis in the past was it just clogged a slot. right? It clogged the slot. Now it just kind of doesn't because it builds into this very powerful item. And so, yeah, that's the benefit here. And now what they buffed about Underlord is that every time you root someone with max root, it does 50 damage, right? And that's not bad. It's not like insane by any means, but it's not bad. It's just a little bit of extra damage on this hero. And so then what you do is you buy this Pavis, and then into Solar Crest, and then you buy an Atos. And eventually when your W is maxed out, which typically you're going to max last, but once you've maxed out the W, when you root someone, you're going to root them. That's going to do 50 damage. You're then going to Atos them. Then they're going to get rooted again, and they're going to take 100 damage. It's just good, right? It's just 100 damage. With the Solar Crest, you're going to run up, and you're going to click the hell out of them. And then after that, you're going to buy a BKB, just to make sure you can get in and right-click. And that's why I recommend actually you generally buy treads, right, over these mana boots. So I'd recommend you go something like, right, Wand, and then after Wand, like tank, you know, just buy a bunch of regen, then treads, like, instead of buying Ring of Health, just buy, like, a set of tangos, 2 sets of tangos in the salve, or like a set of tangos in the salve, something like that. And then, yeah, you're going to go treads into Soul Ring, and then pray to God you get Seeds of Serenity. If you get Seeds of Serenity, you're like Giga Blessed, because then you have no sustain issues. Oh, and they also buffed Fiend's Gate Cast Point and the Cast Point of Pit of Malice, that too. All right, and finally, the last bonus build, and a hero that got Giga buffs, so something I definitely wanted to talk about, is Viper. All right, I'm not gonna lie, the build may or may not be Solar Crest. I know, okay, all right, whatever. But how could you not? How could you not? Attack speed on Viper, tankiness on Viper, mana pool on Viper, armor on Viper, stats on Viper. I mean, come on. Pavis was already a build I considered on Viper last patch. And now, like, how could you not? But then from there, you buy a Dragonlance, pretty standard. You can go Pike, you can go Blade Mail and just be tanky. And then maybe you can go Revenant's Brooch, it's a cool item. Basically, you turn all your right clicks into magic damage, and that's pretty awesome because, well, your Q amps magic damage. So there's a huge angle there, but yeah. Viper, just this Giga buffed hero. I mean, let's be real, right? The change to the W, it lets you man up to right clickers that previously couldn't. If your Nether Toxin is maxed out, it's a 60 attack speed slow, which is like insanely high. Then, of course, if you Solar Crest yourself, you're basically immune to physical damage for a period of time because of how tanky this item makes you. And then, yeah, I mean, you have magic resistance from your passive. You can't touch Viper, right? I think the Solar Crest and the Dragonlance build is going to feel incredible. Like, no way around it. They buffed the ulti as well. I think the break being on the ulti is strictly a buff, in my opinion. Nether Toxin break was inconsistent, especially in the early game. Let's say you went on a Spectre. A lot of the time he'd just get out of the puddle, or it's hard to keep him in the puddle, right? The Nether Toxin. Or like a Huskar. The guy often would just pounce out of the Nether Toxin. It was like hard to use. Now with the break on the ulti, I mean, it's so straightforward. It's a 60% slow instead of 40%, and you just click the ulti. And by the way, it goes through BKB. Yeah, you probably didn't think of that. Nether Toxin, it didn't. Right now it just does. It just goes through BKB. And so, yeah, pretty insane hero. A lot to consider here. And I'm excited, guys. I'm excited to make a lot of analysis on these different heroes as the time goes on because I really want to break it down one by one. So I'm going to be making individual hero analysis for every single one of these builds, either on the Game League website, which the majority of builds will be on because there's just too many to cover, or here on YouTube. So make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss out on those, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
And that's all. But remember, before you leave, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.